The effort to end slavery was always present. It was even present in the efforts of writing the Declaration of Independence. Who's considered to be the primary author of the Declaration of Independence? Thomas Jefferson. There you go, okay? But wait. Thomas Jefferson was a slave owner. Oh, yeah. We know. Over and over again, we're told how evil of a man Thomas Jefferson was. He was the worst. He was terrible because he owned slaves. Most people have no clue as to Jefferson's, unless you've actually taken the time to read, about his positions on slavery. He absolutely abhorred slavery. Couldn't stand it. He did everything in his power, politically, legislatively, to try to get slavery removed from the colonies and then eventually the states. That was his whole life. He tried to do that. Specifically in the Declaration of Independence. Out there on the table is a reproduction of his original draft that he submitted to the Second Continental Congress. And in that draft, he's going through all the charges of why the king has violated law, why the king is bad, and why we have to break away. And he saves his biggest, worst charge against the king for last. And here it is. This is the one he writes more about why the king is bad than anything else. And it was this. The king has waged cruel war against human nature itself, violating its most sacred rights of life and liberty in the persons of a distant people who never offended him, captivating and carrying them into slavery in another hemisphere, or to incur miserable death in the transportation thither. Of that 12.5 million that came over here, 1/4 of them, 1 in 4, died in the boats they were going on over because of how horrible the conditions were. Think about it. You were chained down in your spot, laying down for 2 months. You were never allowed to move for 2 months. How sanitary is that? 1 in 4 died. And he says it's the king's fault. Because almost every colony had tried to pass laws to end the slave trade, and the king had vetoed, his privy council had vetoed every one of them. This piratical warfare, the opprobrium of infidel powers, is the warfare of the Christian. By the way, all of the capitalizing and underlying is his. Who's the head of the Church of England? The king. And what does he call him? Calls him an infidel. Why? Because of slavery. He's been determined to keep open a market where what? Men should be bought and sold. There's only one word in his entire rough draft that he puts in all capital letters. It is when he declares that these slaves are not property, they're not animals, they're not farm machinery, they are men, human beings. And wait a minute, what was it he wrote earlier in there? We hold these truths to be self-evident that all are created equal. Do you now understand who he included in that phrase? But he owned slaves. Yes, he did. When he was 14 years old, he received 5,000 acres of land and 20 slaves because his father had died. They were inherited. And when his father-in-law, after he was married, John Wales died, he inherited another 11,000 acres and 135 slaves. He would end up owning about 600 different slaves in his life. Most of them were born there at his plantation. The slaves, wait. He didn't just inherit them, he bought and sold some of them. Yes, he did. You know why most of the time he did that? To reunite families. He always gave them Sundays off, because that was the Lord's day. He gave them the holidays off like Christmas. He gave them extra personal time during the winter months because there wasn't as much to do. He paid them for vegetables raised, meat from hunting and fishing, extra tasks they might perform outside of the working hours. Guess what he was not allowed to do by Virginia law? Free them. Because he had debt. He had a lot of debt. One, from his very lavish lifestyle. Two, from his buying and selling of slaves to try to reunite families. So when he dies on July 4th, 1826, on the 50th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, all the slaves are not free. He wanted them to be. And they said it was the saddest day because they knew of the auction that would be coming the next month, when everything would be sold by law to pay for his debt, including the slaves. And those families were broken up. Yeah, we need to tear his statue down, don't you think?